Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. So today, once again, a very important topic. Many of our subscribers actually are appearing for CAT interviews, are appearing for different company interviews. So this video is going to cover all the important questions pertaining to operations and supply chain as a whole in any kind of an interview where operations and supply chain can be asked, be it a placement interview or be it an MBA entry interview in one of the IIMs or IITs. So what kind of concepts you should be clear on when you are going to approach an interview which has operations and supply chain as the majority domain that can be asked. So here are the questions. First of all, there is no universal rule that you should study everything and anything on this world. Nobody can know that. There are going to be elements that you do not know about operations and supply chain. But having said that, in your work experience, whatever you have done, if you are showing a training, if you are showing a work experience, whatever operations you used to handle, if you are showing a project which deals with quality management or quality improvement, you should know the tools pertaining to it. If you are showing a project where it is stat reduction, that is turnaround time reduction, you should know the tools, how you have done it. And moreover, when there is a project of cost reduction, so you should know the kind of tools involved there. So everywhere there are a set of tools, there are a set of theories, there are a set of principles which are applied to solve those kind of problems. So whatever problems you have faced in your experience, work experience days or your college project internship days, when you highlight those, the points that you mention in the CV or whatever you tell in the interview should have the knowledge pertaining to operations or supply chain. Not everything about it, but the domain specific knowledge that is required to solve that kind of a problem. Now, what are the things that you should know in general, overall operations, and how you should correlate that to your work experience? I'm going to tell in details. So if you refer to my video, what is operations management, you would understand that operations and supply chain is basically about 3-4 primary broad domains. One is quality improvement. Now, when I talk about quality improvement, what are the things or terms that you should have an idea about, definite idea about? You should know what is Six Sigma. Six Sigma is a very important tool to reduce the variations and maintain and improve quality. So Six Sigma for new innovation processes and for improving the existing processes. So DMAC and DMAT-V. These are the two principles. In Six Sigma, what should be the principles that you should know? What is Six Sigma? Why is it called Six Sigma? Process capability. What is process capability? How do you achieve Six Sigma? What are the 6 steps? Define, measure, analyze, improve and control, and then sustain. DMAX. So what kind of steps are followed and what is the value of each of the steps? What do we do in each of the steps? When you talk about quality improvement or quality management as one of your projects, these are the things that you should be knowing. If you have used Six Sigma, then these tools or these things is a must. Apart from that, to apply Six Sigma, Minitab is a tool that is a must. So you should have a knowledge, a minimum bit of knowledge of how to handle Minitab or SPSS, or both of them would be preferable. Even Python or R system is also extremely important. If you have a knowledge about that, well and good. If you don't have a knowledge about that, at least the basics of Six Sigma. Why is it Six Sigma? What is Six Sigma? What is variation? What is standard deviation? What is voice of customer? What is a SIPOC? What is DPMO? Most importantly, defects per million opportunities. What is DPU? Defect per unit. How do you define these terms and what are the significance of these terms? Another tool of quality improvement, or simultaneously I would say cost reduction as well, is lean. So when these two tools come together, we call it popularly in the industry Lean Six Sigma. So lean tool is basically determining the entire value chain. So it is a value chain analysis process, and then you determine the waste activities or non-value added activities, and you try to remove them, eliminate them, or try to reduce the time that you dedicate to them. Now, how do you reduce the time to the non-value added activities? You basically crash those activities or try to remove a part of it or try to replace it with another valuable activity, or you do several types of methods, which includes Kaizen projects, Kaizen Blitz projects, Poka, Yoke, and Kanban. These systems should be just in time. These concepts should be very clear when you talk about lean management or cost improvement, cost reduction, and quality improvement as a whole. So lean is extremely important there, and the lean tools are extremely important, like Kanban or Pokayoke, as I mentioned, just in time. So these constraints should be, these things should be very clearly evident. Apart from this, what else do? You do a bottleneck analysis in operations. Bottleneck analysis, which is the most time consuming activity, or which is the one that is limiting the process capacity. So when you talk about this bottleneck activity, extremely important. How do you solve this problem? What is crashing? Employing extra manpower to reduce the bottleneck activity, and then what becomes a new bottleneck activity? So theory of constraints. The weakest link in the chain is the bottleneck activity. So you determine the bottleneck. So you can call it bottleneck analysis or theory of constraints also. And you determine the weakest link in the chain, and then you try to improve that. You try to do it parallelly with another activity so that it consumes lesser time, or you try to employ extra manpower to actually get the job done quicker. Now these are how you reduce the time by crashing. Where do you reduce the time by crashing? Simultaneously, these are turnaround time reduction. So basically, in a productive chain, how much time do you actually take? So basically productivity. Now another term that comes into operations is productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness. These three things you should be very clear in your head. What are the definition of these three terms? Never ever confuse in between these three. So availability, productivity, efficiency, effectiveness, all of these terms should be extremely clear. And as I told you, so first one is quality improvement and management, gone. Second one is cost improvement or cost reduction, gone. Third one is turnaround time reduction. Basically, the time that you incur to process the entire thing through the entire value chain. So you analyze the entire value chain, find the weakest activity, find the bottleneck activity, apply the theory of constraints, then apply some extra manpower or manforce or work power there to get the job done. Now this is time reduction. Apart from that, in service operations management, there is a simultaneous concept of basically the arrival rate and the service rate. So to maintain a queue, average length of a queue, or the average waiting time or the queue time, you can employ extra. So optimum number of human work power at the workstation to reduce the number of people in the queue, or to keep the optimum number of people in the queue, or to keep an average queuing time which is acceptable to the customers, because beyond 15 minutes your customers may just leave the site. So accordingly you balance that. The concept of overbooking or underbooking to ensure profit. So profit management. So quality management, cost management, turnaround time management, profit management. Profit management, underbooking and overbooking. What is underbooking? What is overbooking? What is the opportunity cost? Extremely important. If you invest here, if you overbook a few seats, you might incur a customer who might come and ask for their booking, but then you cannot serve them, so that is a loss. And if you underbook, then these customers might not turn up and your seats might go vacant. Very popular example in restaurants, very popular example in hotels, very popular examples in flights. So these kind of extremely important techniques. And now these were all the more or less the prescriptive side of it. Along with that, the diagnostic side of it. So basically 4 streams of analytics, if you see: descriptive, prescriptive, diagnostic, and predictive. So descriptive is basically taking the data and showing where is the bottleneck, showing where are you losing time, showing where the quality is getting compromised. So identifying the critical activities, identifying where the problem is in a value chain or in a supply chain or in a production process. So that is descriptive. Now when I come to prescriptive is giving solutions to those problems. So basically after descriptive, diagnostic comes in. So why analysis, why this problem is occurring in each and every step. Well, this is the bottleneck activity. Why? There is less manpower. Why? The manpower is more or less sitting on the ground. Why? The morals of the manpower is down. So these kind of why analysis will finally show you the root cause. And once you have the root cause, once you identify the root cause, you can actually have the prescriptive analytics. Prescriptive analytics is how do you solve that problem? Resource allocation comes one of the most important things. Where do you apply which resource? Then machine allocation, sequencing of activities. All of these concepts are extremely important in prescriptive analytics. Apart from that, predictive analytics. Any kind of operations or supply chain problem starts with forecasting the demand. So what is going to be the demand for next month? What is going to be the demand for next year? What is going to be the demand for next day? And accordingly, you manage the inventory levels. What is inventory? Very, very important. So pertaining to that, you need to understand those terms. forecasting methods, you should have a brief or rough idea. Moving average, at least you should know that previous 3 periods, moving average can be the 4th period predicting forecasted demand. So I have 3 demands for the previous 3 periods. I calculate a moving average and I calculate the 4th period, forecast the 4th period demand. So this is a predictive analytics of operations management. Supply chain management primarily has this entire value chain analysis, not restricted to the manufacturing process as a whole, but starting from the supplier to the end customer. So everything in between, logistics, manufacturing, then releasing, then again distributor, wholesaler and retailer, and finally to the customer. So entire value chain mapping you do, and then you find the non-value added activities, you find the time consuming activities. Again, you try to employ the best of your methods. So very popular techniques like inventory management. Inventory management mein, then you study periodic review policy, continuous review policy, DDMRP, that is demand driven material resource planning. So extremely important, how much inventory you should keep, up to which level you should monitor, reorder point, how do you calculate that, what quantity do you reorder, economic order quantity or economic production quantity. These terms you should definitely learn. So inventory management, reorder point, economic order quantity, economic production quantity, periodic review, continuous review, demand driven material resource planning. These kind of terms in a supply chain is extremely important. Then warehouse design. How much space should be the warehouse in, how much inventory do you store, how many people do you keep, what should be the automated portion, what should be the normal operation program portion, manual operation, how much manpower should you employ, what is the cost of automation. All of these cost management things will come in a supply chain when you mention the warehouse. And then comes in the logistics problem. So transportation optimization problem. Which route should I go to? If I have to deliver a package from Calcutta to Bombay, should I follow this highway or this highway? Then not only Bombay, say I have a hub in Calcutta, I have to deliver to multiple places. You know, my customers are multifold, they are multi-place. So reaching to the customer through different distributor channels also, you know, requires different kind of routes. And how to reduce my cost, how to choose the route which is going to give me the maximum amount of profit or the minimum amount of cost. That is a traveling salesman problem, also called the spanning tree problem, also called several other optimization, logistics optimization problems are there, which we deal with regularly in the industry. So you understand, when we talk about operations management, we talk about quality management, we talk about cost reduction, we talk about time management, we talk about bottleneck analysis, and we talk about prescriptive, predictive, descriptive and diagnostic analytics. So all these tools you will have to apply. Then we talk about supply chain, we talk about inventory management, we talk about warehouse management, we talk about logistics management, we talk about suppliers, bullwhip effect, extremely important in logistics and supply chain. You should know about this term. So how do you manage? And the steps in the supply chain: supplier, then logistics, then manufacturing plant, then distributor, maybe wholesaler, then distributor, then retailer, then customer. All of these are, you know, boxes of the supply chain. Difference between supply chain and operations, very popular question. So these kind of things, and pertaining to your industry where you have had your work experience, what kind of tools are extremely important, you have to figure out all of this. So these are all cumulative knowledges. You should have an idea about this, and picking up some nitty-gritties from this, you should be able to fit it to your work experience domain. I think that was it. That covers most of the operations and supply chain questions or types of questions that you can expect in an interview. And these are the things that you must know. If you like the video, like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon. We will bring in more videos on technology. We'll bring in more videos on management. Trust me, you would like it. Thank you very much. That's it for today.